Talking about the PCG tree generation system I put together. This system is really based on two gentlemen's videos that I watched, and I'm going to show them both here right now. And I'll put links to them in below. One's from Procedural Minds on just doing the tree creation, and the other one is from a gentleman called Adrian Lugat. I hope I said that right. I apologize if I didn't. And here, this is just more about the loops and subgraphs. And Procedural Mind also did one that was also about loops, but Adrian's just had a little more detail that helped me really figure this out. So with that said now, I'm just going to go into the system, and as you can see, as you move the tree, it just generates a new tree, in this case a pine tree that I put together. And what it does that's kind of unique is that each branch on each level can be different. As you can see over here on the left, you can see some that just have a tuft on the end. This one over here doesn't have anything. So some of the branches have nothing on them, some of them just have one tuft, and that's all weighted, and I'll show you that here in a minute. This system, just like what Procedural Minds did, here you can see the ones without nothing, is used off primary data assets or data assets, and I'll go through those here in a minute. But I thought I'd just quickly run through the system so you could see how it was all put together, and then kind of go through the loop portion, which is what I think is kind of the unique portion of it. So here, just kind of like what Procedural Minds did, we've got a trunk, and on that trunk I have put sockets right here, and each of these sockets is named with a branch, and I just line them up. One thing that is important to remember, if you're looking at these, is that they line up both this way and then flip to the end this way, right? So if you have a curved trunk like what I have, you want to make sure all that lines up. It's just something that I missed the first time that I went through this. All right, so there's the trunks, and then I have three different branches that go on the trunks, and you got one full with leaves. I'll talk about the leaf here in a minute. And you can see the socket. These sockets in this case are called leaf, so that's pretty important. Remember, these are branch, and then these are leaves, right? So, and I got three different ones. Here's the one that's got a little tuft on the end. Here's one that has nothing. And on this, one thing you do want to do is you do want to put a socket and call it leaf, and then just make it really, really small. Otherwise, when it goes through the graph, it will think there's nothing there, and it will cause some errors. So it's better just to put one in there and make it really small. It makes it a little bit easier for you. So there you go. I got the three branches, one full, one a little tough, one with nothing. And then here's the leaf. It's just a crossed two cross planes that I made in Blender and brought it in, and then put the alpha on it, and put some material on it. I'm not going to go into that part of it. There's plenty of videos on that. I'm really just trying to concentrate on what I did different than what those other two gentlemen did. All right, so then we've got the primary data asset that's just got a dynamic mesh and a struct. Again, go watch Procedural Mind for that if you want to see how that came together. And then here's probably maybe just a little thing just to point out, is that I have this branch that's got all the leaves, 98, this one that has nothing, 1, and then the one that just has a tuft on the end is 10. This is important because there are times if you're doing this and you have your weights coming in and you have this kind of big disparity, you will have times when you do the filter, which I'll show in a little bit, where you won't have anything in the filter, and that caused me a little bit of trouble. I think I got a unique way of doing it. Maybe there's a better way, so if you all have some suggestions, let me know. I'd be happy to take them. So that's kind of the setup. You've seen all the messages now. You've seen the primary assets, a data asset, and the data asset. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to head over to the PCG. And the first thing I have is I have the tree, making the tree, right? And again, if you watch Procedural Minds video, link below, you'll see where most of this came from. I'm just getting the data actor. I'm getting points from it, and then I'm spawning my trunk. In this case, I have 5 of them. I suppose I could put these into a data asset. I don't know. I'll have to think about that, but I haven't done that right now. So I've spawned those, and from this, you get the attributes from point index, and in this case, we're just getting it from the sockets. And if I come over here, you'll see the socket is the branch. Remember I showed that earlier. Again, following the same stuff that Procedural Minds did. Copy the points here. And then I did 4 different transforms. And all this is doing, and I think it shows in his video as well, all this is doing is that when you come to these branches, If you have one here, if you only do it once, you'll just have one branch. By doing that 4 times, you'll have 4 different branches here, 4 different branches here, 4 different branches here. And I think that's pretty important to have a nice looking tree, is to have multiple branches. One thing I am doing with mine is I am offsetting by 10 pixels, or not pixels, but centimeters up and down. So that means that on that trunk, it'll move up and down this way 10. I didn't want them all kind of at the same height, so that's something slightly different. But that's not an important part. So this is pretty much all the same up to this point. We merge the points, and then just randomly transform them one more time, 360. So they're on there just randomly. And then this is where it starts to get into the meat and potatoes, right? If you watch those 2 videos, you'll see that you can then get your data asset in here by creating a attribute on the graph itself. There's mine right there, and I've got a reference to that primary, or the data asset that I made. I'm getting the property out, which in this case is the mesh, dynamic mesh, which is what it was called. And then I'm matching and setting the attributes. I am using those weights that I showed you earlier, so you want to make sure you click on the match weight attribute and type in the name of it. In this case, it's weight. And then I'm spawning the static mesh using the selector by attribute and static mesh here. Again, this is pretty much all the same as what you'd see if you watch those other 2 videos. In this case, now we're going to start to go into the loop section of it. The one thing I was trying to do was just loop, or just keep kind of the setup that Procedural Minds had, was that you just kind of did all of the extra next step in the same graph. But in this case, I broke down the spawning of the leaves because they're different for each one, and you'll see that here in a second. So do the attribute partition. Again, you can see that in those videos, and then bring that into the loop. That's what we're looping through on these points, right? And then I have the PCG for the random spawner of those leaves on the branches that have already spawned, right? So I'm bringing in those points. You can see down here, each of these has a different, hopefully I get one that has it. Nope. Oh, it's because I'm on the wrong one. Sorry. Inspect. And here we go. Now you'll see, I hope, I got one that, no, of course I didn't. Oh, it's because I'm sorry, I'm here. Sorry. Get the right one eventually. Well, each of these are getting filtered out to the, let's see if I can find this. Apologize. Let me find one that maybe has it. Outputs. I want output. I want. There we go. There you go. You can see these have different ones, all right? So I'm bringing in the different meshes, and then I'm going to filter them based on this loop that we're doing. This is kind of shown in their videos. Static mesh to static mesh. The one thing that I did add, because of those weights that I had, and they're so kind of spread apart, and one being way more dominant than the other, there are going to be times when you do this filter where there won't be anything in the filter output. So if I come over here and inspect this, and then I go inside the filter, you'll see some. And then if I go down one, let's see if that one's still got one, that one's still got one. But if I go back up here, because this only had the one type of mesh, those are in, but then these are out. So these are empty, right? So we didn't get any of those other 2 branches in this one. We got all 3 branches in this one, and so there's different stuff inside the filter. So one of the problems I was running into is these ones that don't have anything. I just did a quick get point counts on it. I then put another variable in here that's just, I put to 0, and then I compared it. So if it equals 0, then do nothing basically. And if it doesn't, then go ahead and get the attributes from the points, just like what we did before. Oops. And this time it's important you're using leaf because you're putting the leaves right. And then mesh sockets to points again, copying the points again, In this case, I'm only doing 2 sets of leaves in the same location just because I found that more than that it started to get a little bushy. Merge the points back in and then spawn the static mesh again. This case, I'm not using the data asset. I just have them in this array here, and I just have the one leaf mesh in here. You could have multiple, or you could repeat all of this again if you wanted to randomize that from a data asset. So that's kind of the system. I think it works fairly well. As you can see, as I drive, as I move the tree around, it's going to spawn. It's going to put different branches on there. And you can imagine if you use this within a biome PCG or any other PCG, you could create a pretty quick forest that none of the trees were basically the same within that forest, and that would be pretty cool. You know, I haven't found another way to do this quickly like this, and this just is pretty nice. So, again, thank you, Procedural Minds and Adrian. Without you guys, I would have definitely never figured this out. I don't know how performant this is. I can't imagine it's horrible because I'm really only, I mean, these are all static meshes. I don't know. Again, I haven't tested that side of it. I think I have a total of 8 or 9 static meshes in here, and they're just being repeated all over the place. I did the same thing with this one, except for this tree here, a non-pine tree. This one doesn't. The branches. So far, I haven't set this one up yet to have the branches be different on each one, and I can't get it over here. Come over here. There we go. But that is something I'll be doing on this. I haven't made a whole bunch of variety of different branches with different leaf points on it, but it's the same concept. This one just isn't using the loop. This is more like what Procedural Minds showed, and this is what I started with when I first started putting this together. So there you go. That's you can do this. It doesn't have to be a pine tree. It can be any type of tree you want. So there you go. If anybody has any questions or comments, I'd love to get them. This is something new for me. I haven't done too much of this tech type devlog, but I thought this was really cool, and I wanted to share some of the things that I did different. So leave a comment below, like and subscribe, and thanks for your time. And everybody have a great day.